I'm afraid that's inevitable. This year the Stella Prize had 173 entries, 173 books by women who, in the process of writing these books, must have felt to some degree or other like Dorothy Hewitt, who described herself in her autobiography, Wild Card, as possessed by words, possessed by words. When Dorothy wrote in the same book about the important business of being a woman, she makes it clear that writing was not regarded as part of women's business in the 1930s and later. It took great force of character on the part of writers like Dorothy and the considerable energy of agents, publishers, readers, librarians and reviewers to make literature the important business of so many women in Australia. This important work is incomplete. The Stella Prize is part of a vital initiative to reward women's books that are judged to be excellent, original and engaging, refreshingly straightforward terms for the things readers value.
Hold that there. No, we're holding it right there. Whose phone is it? Just get it out of your bag now. It's the big moment. If you know it's you, there'll be no punishment. If you've got a phone, for Christ's sake, turn it off. Or I will come down and shame you. I'm very sorry about that.
See, it's noisy. It's part of the good noise.
Oh, it's not up. It's not again. It's not again. Go on, dive in, because it's a big moment. Oh, God. You know what it is? Someone, Radio National, I think, is trying to ring a beaver. I think it's I mean, it's like, you know, there was a stage invasion once at Eurovision. Did you know that? During Spain's number, someone jumped up in the middle. All right, everyone's calmed down. Ladies and gentlemen, back to proceedings.
Back to proceedings indeed. Just thank you, Julia, for just that little bit more suspense. Because the longer I talk, the longer we postpone finding out who the winner is. This year there were really hard choices to be made because the quality of the books was so high, and you obviously get that impression from my fellow judges who've spoken before me. The judges talked for a very full day about the shortlist. In fact, the judges talk for a very full day every year. But it seemed like a particularly intense conversation this year. I've done this judging once before. There's an evenness in the books. There's a tremendous evenness of quality. It was a very hard choice. These books have a common preoccupation with women's identity. In the world without us, a character asks herself, what am I? What am I? In the natural way of things, a character is told by a brutal guard that you need to know what you are. And by the end of the novel she does, but not in the way he intended. Peggy Frew's character, Silver, has to disentangle herself from a mother who sees herself and only herself in her child. Tegan Bennett Daylight's adult characters, quote, dress as ourselves now, having gone through quite a few costume changes, having worked through quite a few costumes to lead to a stable state of self. In one of Elizabeth Harrower's stories, a child finds herself obliterated when the lights go out in a public place. She feels that she's nothing. Fiona writes, ill women are so frail that none of us had felt solid somehow for years. None of us had felt solid for years. It's such a beautiful line for such a fluid and intelligent book. The question, what am I, seems to move through these books. Characters resist contemptuous definitions of who they are. Sometimes these definitions come from other women. They resist aggression, they resist co-option, and they resist manipulation. Some find confirmation in literature. Fiona Wright looks to Christina Stead, among others, and Tegan Bennett Daylight's character sticks passages from Helen Garner on her wall. Fiona Wright releases herself in words which she describes as the strongest steel I have, the strongest steel I have. And most of the books emphasise the physical, the value of the functional feminine body. The natural way of things is particularly eloquent about this through the resourceful character of the trapper Yolanda. In my imagination, a short list of books are shelved together in some beneficial category labelled "What You Are." As well as self-definition, these books are concerned with communities and micro-communities, dystopian, alternative communities in the case of the world